thing on? Is that working? Well, hello there, and welcome back to another episode of Hoon Talk Auto, right? Me in the old money pit here. Gonna be replacing some brake rotors and some brake pads wherever they are right there. I put some anti-seize on them already, guys. I got the wheel off already, so we should just go get down there, I think. Try to blast through this because I already did one side of it and it took forever because you gotta do more than you think. So let's get to her, guys. All right, guys, we're back at her. Well, actually, for you, we're just at her. So basically, first step, you're gonna want to get a 14 mil, slap this guy, turn her to lefty-loosey, right? Give her one of those. Off she come. Throw that next door neighbor's house. Next step is to realize that your caliper is seized on there, so you got to go get a pry bar. Because of course, why is it going to be easy? You didn't leave yourself enough room to work. So what are you going to do, right? You're just going to be disappointed in yourself. Probably just project that onto others, right? Okay, I'm back. I just got a punch. I didn't get a pry bar. Anyway, give her help. You only got to take off the bottom bolt there, and then, oh well, piece of the brake pad out. Who cares about that? And you just tilt her up like that. Then you want to take one of these guys, just a brake caliper piston pusher. When you click like that, it pushes her all the way out, right? Wee, wee, wee. And then you press this guy, and she can come back in. We interrupt this program of Hoon Talk Auto for a special safety bulletin. After compressing your brake pistons, the brakes will not be operational again until you prime the system. So once everything's put back together, you need to do the following. Get into the driver's seat. Make sure the key is off and the vehicle's in park. Apply the brake pedal multiple times, usually 5 to 7, to allow for the pistons to extend out and take up the clearance you made by compressing them to install the new brake pads. Once you feel the pedal stop firm near the top of its travel, make sure the brakes are fully applied by attempting to roll the vehicle in neutral with your foot on the brake, or by having a helper try to spin the wheels by hand, if the vehicle's still up on jack stands, that is, and you actually have friends. If everything seems to be working, test drive the vehicle and perform the manufacturer recommended break-in procedure for your new pads and rotors. If you have any questions at all or are unsure about anything related to this repair, please contact a trusted professional. Better to be safe than dead. And now back to the show. Basically, you just put it on there like that, slap her forward, and then you squeeze her with your wet noodle grip. Cuts the camera so that somebody else can come do it, somebody who's strong. These ones don't seem as bad. The other side fought me the entire way. Once it bottoms out like that, no need to keep reefing on her, bud. And just like that, your caliper piston can relate to you because it is also depressed. So slide him right out of the pin there and just huck him up there, just somewhere like that. And then you're gonna be going after these two. So yeah, this side was at 2 mil, and this side's at like a lot mil. Like that's a lot left, right? So that tells you the other side was definitely seized on there, and likely is gonna need to be replaced. That's disappointing. There's a lot of pad left there, right? But what are you gonna do? I'll probably do nothing. Anyway, we'll zip this top guy. I He-Man'd that on there though, so we're gonna have to get a 22 and a long boy. If you don't have that, then better hope you know somebody strong, I guess. Man, that was on there tight. Good thing I'm the only guy who's worked on this, eh? We're gonna loosen this, and we're not gonna take her right out. And there's a reason for that, because you're gonna need to take this guy, or something similar to that, and you're gonna wanna jam it in there, so it leans against that, and that's what you're gonna use to loosen that and loosen these, because you gotta take off the locking hubs and then blast those as well. If you're anything like me, you don't have this Allen just handy, so you're gonna use a fucking hex on her, and it's gonna be causing a sadness. But see how that nudges against there and locks her? Use hand tools on these, or you're gonna strip them going on and off. And then you're gonna grab your trusty dusty guy and just get them out far enough that they move. And so once you got all those guys going, then this guy goes, right? And that's the actual locking hub assembly. Just leave all the bolts in there. It doesn't matter which way it goes around there. It says this guy, but this guy doesn't know for sure. Anyway, just set that guy off to the side there. And then you're gonna wanna crack these guys loose. You don't actually have to do it in this order, but this is the order I'm doing it in, so frig off, right? And like I said, we're just cracking them loose, and then we'll undo them on the bench there. Owie! I don't think I went in any order there, guys. I told you I'd forget, okay? You're supposed to remind me. And then take that thing out of there. Go back to your boltios on the back and rip those bastards out of there. That's a 22 millimeter. This is your caliper bracket. Once we get it on the bench, I'll show you how to do some things and stuff to it. For now, slide it away. If you've never done this before, it's extremely messy and sucks a lot. You're gonna wanna clean off a lot of this grease. Yours might look worse than mine because this is kind of semi-new grease. And I don't know if this is normal that this moves around in there like that, but it always has, so maybe it is, who knows? Who knows, guys? And all the components that come out of here, you wanna try to keep them dust free. Just put them down on one of these guys. So you're gonna need some sort of plier guy. And then on the inside of this, you can see these little crescent moon looking guy. Put this guy in there and spread them apart. Grab a little hooker type, just because this is the flimsiest washer. Nissan hates anybody who works on their cars, obviously. See what I mean? Kind of just sucking there on its own. So then I'm just gonna put that down on this thing. And then there's another little washer here that's gonna come out with the locking bit there. So you just go wee wee, but don't lose this guy. And these will only go in one way. Like you gotta put it on that way, but then there's also these things. Don't know if they're directional, but they will only go into these slot, like certain slots on here. So if you, when you go to put it on, just kind of maneuver it around. Then there's this, and there's the wiping. So yours might be stripped as well, but as you can see, why not try this thing? Oh, because it's not going to work. Okay, weapon of choice, I've decided, is going to be a little Phillips on the end of a ratchet, on the end of an extender. So I'm going to slap that in there because it's a Phillips. Why they would do that is probably just they hate us. I choose this because you can put a bit more pressure on the end of it to try not to actually strip her. And out she came, thankfully. Okay, so this is coming out of there. That's so bad. Edit that shit. No, I won't. My future self hates my past self. So there's another one on here. I'm just gonna rip her out of there. And then there's a little washer guy here, a thrust washer. You're gonna need your hooker again. Out she come. Just give her a little bit of a swiperoo, right? It's probably directional, I'd say, but maybe not. I was hoping to see some marks on her. Oh, there's a screw mark there. So it probably came off this way. Maybe I'll review the taper. It probably won't. Then what do you got here? What you got here is your little turny guy. You guys are only getting Hoon Talk Autos lately, eh? And like only once every couple of months. I'd like to say I'm busy, but I kind of am, I guess. Busy not getting a proper sized hat and wiping my hair with bearing grease. Okay, so to get this guy off, you either need a hammer and a punch and knock her free, or you're going to need one of these guys. It's a little specialty saquette. This particular one is chrome vanadium, whatever that is. There's two little notches on this, and clicky clicky, right? They go in there, slipping around, then boom, 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 boom. See them? One there, one up there. So yeah. And then once you get that off, there's a tapered roller bearing that's going to come out of here. So don't just pull this off. It'll fall on the floor. You'll be sad. You don't want to Brunel. Brunelling is when you make it pitted and dickered. That's what this symbol is, pitted and dickered. So yeah, fingers in there like that. And then just like that. And there's your guy. You're tapered. We're going to have to repack these, which is a sadness. There's one on the back too. It's in there behind this seal. I'll show you once we get her on the bench. All right, so forgive the mess or don't. I don't care. We're going to do the caliper bracket. Huck this guy in the vise if you got one. If not, just hold on tight. My kit came with new sliders. If yours doesn't, then just brush these off with a brush, but mine did obviously. So just going to pry that, get it out of there. Pry that guy. Get her out of there. And then you want to see if there's any rust buildup here. And if there is, you want to file her down. You don't want to take the ends off the brake pads here with this instead of doing that, because that's hack stuff. That's just lazy. You want to just make sure that's flush again. These ones aren't too bad. If yours are really bad, I'm sorry, but you got to do it this way. You can't do it the other way. I'm not teaching you, even though I just said it. Then you want to get yourself one of these guys or something similar. Not a sponsor, obviously. It's just some silicone brake lube, and pull out your one remaining pin because the other one's still on the caliper, and just put a little dollop in there. Dollop being like that amount, maybe. And then you're gonna want to run this guy in there. Run it in like it's a Tuesday night. Wife's just gonna come down and just be like, you all right? You hurt yourself in there? I heard some stuff. And then these guys, like I was saying, these are your new sliders. You're gonna toss them in like, oh no. First things first. Get yourself some sort of anti-seize. This one I just got given to me by a customer, and it sucks, so I wouldn't recommend this brand. Don't sue. You're just gonna pile it on, I guess. Jesus. And this is just to prevent it from building up a big old bunch of rust in there. It can cause the pads to not have a very good application rate. Clean off any of this sort of nonsense, because you don't want this getting on your rotors either. If you don't have this anti-seize shit, it's not going to cause your life to be over, but I would recommend having it. And then you got these guys, right? These are your new brake pads. I'm just showing you. I put anti-seize on where the pistons are going to go, where the arms are going to go, and on the ends. But like I was saying, if you don't have it, you can just toss them in there. Not a huge deal, but I'm just going to set these aside somewhere. Put them over here maybe. Then we put this in. Line her up, push it in, and this guy go in there. Line her up. And you just push it in, just like that. Now you get this guy out of the way. So that's the caliper service. Now we're getting on to the meat and bordados. So you remember these guys I was talking about? Why we cracked them loose? Yeah. Well, there they are again. Who put it? Who put it where? Where did he put? So yeah, get your trusty dusty. 14 on the end of her. Just gonna slap this out of there. Comes with a little lock washer. Each one of them do. So don't lose that guy, because for some reason they didn't pinch it off so it doesn't fall out of there. So once you get all these guys out of there, then you got to separate the hub from the rotor assembly, because obviously they had to make it really extremely weird. Okay, so what I got was just a hanging around whatever kind of hammer I had in here. I think it's an auto body hammer, but who cares? And then you're going to want to get something to whack with. Probably what you're going to want is a pry bar, but I'm just going to jam this thing in there and just going to give her hell. Oh, that was easy. So I just gave her a couple love taps, and out she come to be replaced with that guy. That fella. But not yet, because we have to do something. I'm actually going to move this guy. So all this rust for me is not going to do, because it's going to be a new mating surface, right? So all this stuff, she's kind of got a ridge there. I'm going to be cleaning that off. Be cleaning this off just because I don't like it. Going to take this rear bearing out because we're going to repack it. I didn't order another seal because I just replaced these bearings not that long ago, and I just obviously didn't think ahead, right? So basically what's going to happen here is I'm just going to show you how to get it out without wrecking it, hopefully. I just use a flathead, but you should replace this if you're doing this yourself. So just huck this in there, get it under the lip, and kind of twist. And by twist, I mean that kind of twist. Okay, so I was just hooking under that little lip. I was going like this. I packed this thing with grease before I put it in there last time, but just smear it. Looks like it's got a lot in there. Man, it looks like it was kind of burning this stuff. Maybe this isn't the best grease. This is extra heavy duty though. What does that mean? Okay, so once that's out, set it aside or get ready to put in your new one. And by get ready, I mean in a while. Packing bearings is literally your worst nightmare. You don't ever want to have to do it. It sucks. Okay, so here's for my least favorite part. Get yourself some of this or some kind of bearing grease. You guys obviously aren't a sponsor or nothing, but I don't know. I just picked it up from Auto Value. Okay, so you want to get yourself set up pretty good here before you actually start this maneuver, because once you get this grease on your hand, it's the end times. This is how you do it if you don't have a bearing tool, even after 15 years in the industry. Get yourself a Gobbert, smear it on your guy. Yeah, that's more of like a Gobbert Baratheon. We'll get this guy. This is the rear bearing. See, they're kind of loose there. Kicked some of the grease out. Okay, so what we're trying to do is tuck some grease into that little crack there, all the way around till it pushes out of the top on the front. You're just gonna push like that. See how it came out the top? And do that all the way around on this one. Do it all the way around on that one. Then we'll get to putting it back together. But in the meantime, just keep going all the way. And this is basically just getting the grease in between the rollers, right? And see how much of a mess this is. The tool makes this so much easier, guys. Allegedly, I've never used one. I just keep suffering. Okay, but you get the idea. Till it squeezes out like that, you do it all the way around, do it on both, and then you huck it back in there. So that, as you might have seen by the time lapse, if I decided to leave it in, then good for you, right? You got to see it. But if I didn't, then frig off. So like I said, replace that seal if you can, if you got a new one, but if you don't, then that's okay. We're just gonna huck the old guy back in. Just gonna take off the edge here. The edge shearing, what? And then you obviously probably weren't paying attention to how deep this was. You just want it just about flush. So this guy go in there, just like that, and you want to get him started with your digits. But then all I do is I take this guy and you just go around the outside till he's all the way put in there correct. Take your time with it. Obviously don't smash it in there, you'll be sad. If it goes in too deep, you'll have to pull it out again, or you'll just give up on it, who knows. Well, it looks just about perfect. And yeah, so I'm just keeping half of this guy, half on and half on the seal as I'm going around. And then you're going to want it to be looking kind of like that. While you're in here, you're going to want to clean up your ABS tone ring so it doesn't throw a coat on you and make you sad. And just do that with a wire brush like that or something. Try not to damage any of the teeth. Inspect, make sure it's not cracked or wrecked or nothing. Like I said, I'm going to do this, clean up all that shit, and then I'm going to put it back on, and I'll get back at you when it's time to do the torque procedure on her. All right, guys. Man, it's all covered in shit. That was just in there to protect against dust while I cleaned all this stuff up. Got it all anti-rusted. And that's just to kind of clean up the mating surfaces here. And then that's just executive ADHD dysfunction, right? So now it's time to put the new rotor on there. What are we gonna do, right? We're gonna go rotor down, rotor down. We're gonna put this guy through that guy. And we're gonna put these guys back in, but we're just gonna loosely do them. We're just gonna snap them down. You're gonna set it to a non-full one. So once you get all the threads started by hand, you just zip them. Wow, this guy's great. Just the greatest content on YouTube. All right, time to move back down and go put her on, and we'll do the torque procedure. So let's head on down below. What have I left up there that I'm gonna need? I would say this guy. Probably need that guy there, right? They can't see anything, but all right, guys. Damn it. So I cleaned up this stuff, and you can see some track marks on there, right? That's not good. So flip it real good. And just push the bastard on. And then once it's on there, we go bearing, taper, goes in like that. Push that guy in. Then we go this guy with this little indent facing the bearing, I think. I guess we'll find out. I'll confirm. Let's get this guy going. Just gonna turn this guy in till it snugs like that. Then you're gonna wanna get a torque wrench. And then what I'm gonna do is a 60 foot-pounder. And then move it a few times forward and the backwards. And the backwards. And what you're doing is you're just seating the bearing. Both of them. Mainly the rear one, I think. I don't know exactly how many times you gotta do this. I also don't care, guys. Then, once you've done that, loosen it off again. And then this next one is like, you're supposed to do it literally to like, I don't know, 13 Newton meters or something. Which, for those who don't know, it's not very much. So, what I end up doing is literally just like that. Very little. Then you take your rig, and the idea is... Oh, that's not right. Oh, man, I left the hooker up there or something there. Oh, there's the hooker right there. These little notches will only go in a certain way. So I'm off by a little bit there. So what I'm going to do... You can tighten it. I don't know exactly how much it is extra, but you tighten it a little bit to meet up. Trying to get one of these screw holes to line up. See, I'm a bit over now. I gotta loosen it off a bit, maybe. I'd say this is the worst part of the job, but it's just not. It's all bad. Well, we'll see if that worked. Been at this for 6 minutes already. Put it back too far again. Sad. Just have to go back ever so slightly. Making you sick yet? Shaking you around. You can get sick like this. And once you get that one started, then you get the opposite side one started. And then you just tighten these up till they snug or strip. If you're me, they're stripping. And then it'll stay in place. That's your like little lock washer that stops it from backing out again on you. That feels nice. Take your little rig. Everything's a rig. Take this guy again. And this backside go in. Whoa, almost lost the thrust washer. Which one does it want to be in? That one. One will go slightly deeper, I think, is why I did that. And then our favorite, most hated guy ever. Oh, man. Made it 1,000 times worse. I swear I don't suck. Fuck. Probably just push it on now, actually. Till you hear it lock in. Once that's on, then you can put this guy back on there. There's a seal on this in there. As you can see, mine's been just destroyed. I don't know where it went. I also don't care though. I'll replace it at some point maybe. Or you guys know me, maybe I won't. Okay, locked her in. Then you give these guys the... Okay, once those are on, I'm gonna put this guy back on, and you'll know why, because we gotta torque it, right? Gotta torque it! So this one's easy, same order of operations, right? Put the 22 mils on there, on the back, and then you torque them to something, I don't know what. I'm not gonna go FT, but I'll go T. I'll go T for sure. Now this guy's gotta go in on the opposite side, instead of where it was up there last time. And it's gonna stop like that. And then we're gonna torque them. There is a torque spec, which I'll put somewhere. I'm gonna torque these guys to 50 foot-pounds, and again in the star pattern. And then once you get them all, just go around and check them all. Okay, but we're not done. There's a torque spec for these too, which I also don't remember. I'm gonna set them to 25. I think that's the top end. I don't know why they have it in a range, but that's the top end of the range. We'll do a star pattern again. And then just around in a circle last time. Okay. Removed. One thing you should do when you got the wheel off is just grease these guys. There's a couple pumps with the old grease gun there, and probably this guy too. Just don't fill it up so much that you blow the boot out on your brand new ball joint, or else you'll end up with something like this. Of course, you can't get ball joint boots anywhere. That's how they get you. But he's just making his own repairs obsolete, eh? Any of your ball joints that need to be greased, grease them. Get to greasing your things. Liam Greason. I probably should tighten them up, eh? And you only need them decent tight. If I can find the torque spec, I'll put it up, but about that tight. And then squealer. Oh, I put it on the wrong side. The squealer faces down, but I screwed it up, so it's gonna be facing up. Or the way you know which direction the squealer goes is the way the rotor rotates. So this one's rotating forward and the bracket's on the back, so it should be like that. It's on the other side by accident, but that doesn't matter. I can just flip them around next time I'm in here. But in this case, I'm just gonna put it here. And you take your guy, put him back in, and you close him down. Tighten that down. And you're good to go. That's how you replace the front brakes, right? All you gotta do now is tighten up the wheels you got on there and torque those, obviously, probably to like 80 or 100 foot-pounds, something like that. Hit it with a couple ducka-duckas of the gun, right? Ducka-duckas, right? Couple ducka-duckas. Couple of impactors, right? Couple of slappers, couple of... Oh, bud, just shut up and just get her done. Pretty tired now, that took quite a while. Hopefully you didn't bite off more than you could chew and this was a helpful video for you. If it is, just like, favorite, scuba dive as usual, right? And let's try to get to 1,000 subs, guys. I want to retire, right? Obviously not from YouTube or whatever. I mean, pretty much retired now. I barely even post, right? It's not my fault. Got shit going on. I don't have an excuse, really. Just stalling for time for some reason. Oh yeah, and we don't want to forget the most important part. To recap what I was saying earlier in the video. Before you go driving away, make sure you press this pedal down a couple times until it's high and hard, aka you feel some good resistance on her. Because basically if it goes to the floor and you're already in motion, guess what? Your brake pads just became whatever is behind you or in front of you, depending on which direction you chose to go. Either way, just make sure you pump that brake. Pump it! Oh yeah. Like, favorite, subscribe. God, it looks like a 4-year-old made this. Well, there they are again. You alright? You hurt yourself in there? I heard some stuff. Oh, he's spitting everywhere. God. He put it. He put it where? Where did he put? We're not sure if that's safe. Whatever floats your boat, bud.